Welcome to the Overland Sea podcast. Today we are talking about the home game against Sheffield United. Andrew, Sheffield United are 20th in the league currently. They have only won 2 games, drawn 2 and lost 12. I believe this will be Chris Wilder's third game in charge after rejoining the club as manager. Injury-wise for us, it's been confirmed this morning that Mark Cucurella, Reece James, and Robert Sanchez will all face some time on the sidelines, as well as the injuries still to Chalobah, Chilwell, Chukwuemeka, Fofana, Ugochukwu, Big Les, Madueke, Lavia, Gusto, and Nkuku, Nkuku is still on the list despite doing 2 weeks of full training. Tell me your thoughts going into this home game.
If we can't beat this lot at home, we're not going to beat many teams at home, and that's obviously been a real struggle for us this season. Yes, they've got the new boost from a manager coming back. Everyone feels like they've got a chance, potentially. Some of them might feel like Chris Wilder didn't like them at his first stint at the club. But yeah, hopeful but not confident. At the minute, I just don't feel like I know which Chelsea's going to turn up.
Yeah, I get that. For me, there's certain players. I mean, to be fair, we're so limited in certain situations now with who we can actually field. We're running out of options, which I don't think helps. There are definitely certain players that I'm confident about that will at least put in an effort, whether it comes off or they play well is a different thing. And there are definitely players that I still question their work ethic to the team, considering how badly we are struggling this season, despite little glimmers of hope. Let's face it, I think Sheffield are going to sit back and counterattack, if I'm brutally honest, which is what most clubs try to do anyway at the Bridge, and it's what we've struggled to break down. So I think Sheffield not attempting that would be stupid. So as we always say, or as you normally say, first goal is important.
First goal is very important with us. Yeah, if we don't get it, we really, really, really struggle. We do get it, we still struggle a lot of the time, but sometimes we can make it work. Yeah.
What do you want to see that's different from the Everton game? What do we need to do differently, basically?
We just need more creativity, really, to create more chances, more good chances. We're obviously not very good at taking chances at the best of times, and we're not particularly good at creating them at the minute either. So I think that's where we've fallen down. I thought we turned a corner at sort of the City game where we took our chances quite well, but that seems to have just been a one-off blip of quality, and maybe it's showing that it's there and something's just not right. But we just need to take chances. We create a few, and if we could just take a couple of them, that'd be great. Or we need to start creating 20 chances a game and hoping that 2 of them go in, because it doesn't feel like one goal is enough for us to win games.
No, one goal is definitely not enough for us to win games, because it just seems to be whenever we make a mistake in a game, the other team ends up capitalizing. We don't seem to get away with a mistake. Do you know what I mean?
I think we make too many mistakes, to be honest.
Well, there is that. There is that. I don't think we don't create chances. I don't understand how we could have this XG, high XG, if we're not creating enough chances. I think we just don't take them, like you said. I don't think it's chances. I think it's a lack of composure, a lack of quality, and we just don't take them.
I don't think we create that many good chances.
We haven't recently. We haven't recently, I'd say.
The XG is still relatively high because there's a lot of hopeful ones and half chance,
Scrappy. There's scrappy chances.
but we create very few great chances that we're like, oh, we should have scored that. There'll be like one or two a game max. Which
What is it that you think is leading to us not creating chances? Sorry.
huh?
What is it that you think is leading us to not creating these chances? What is missing from creating these chances? Is it just the creativity?
Well, yeah, I think so. I think obviously the low block and other teams playing very well against us is part of the problem. But at the same time, you just need in those situations someone that's going to beat someone that's going to find that pass, and you need players to be on the same wavelength in terms of where players are going to move. That movement needs to be in the right place so the person can give them the ball, and the person that has the ball needs to know that they're going to make that run or a similar one that means that they can find them with the pass.
Yep.
And we are lacking the cohesion, and I think we are also lacking the creativity, and on both sides of it in terms of creative runs and creative passing. So I don't think the runs have been good enough. When a basic run is good enough in that situation because of it's a counter attack, there's only a couple of them back there. We haven't lacked the ability to play that through ball, and a lot of the times it's a very simple through ball that we seem to lack the ability to play.
That's the big one for me, just on that one. That for me is the biggest thing from my point of view. But carry on.
And then when we get there, we dither and we mess about and we don't actually just shoot. We don't shoot quickly enough and we give them all time. So when we do get a yard of space, the player, either the touch isn't good enough or the player lacks the confidence to be able to just hit it quickly, even if they've taken an okay touch. And then they get players back and block it, and next to impossible to score unless you just get a lucky deflection or something. So it's a lot of different things that are causing us a lot of problems. And in games where we've played well, we've almost let them have the ball at the back and then picked a certain player to press or picked someone. And we've kind of let them try and hang themselves by trying to play out from the back.
Yeah.
A lot of teams are doing to us where they kind of just let us, either they sit back and let us have it in the centre backs because they know the centre backs aren't going to play a ball that's good enough because our strikers aren't the type of strikers that can make something out of nothing. And then, or they trigger a press on when Dizazi has it or Sanchez has it at the right time when we're scrambling a little bit already, and we really struggle with it because we can't play our way out of danger at the back. I think that's what we need to do to other teams better. And I think when we've won games, that is what we've done well. And I don't know why it works in some games, in others, we just seem to play completely differently and not have that press. I don't think teams are particularly going long ball against us.
You don't think teams are particularly what on against us? Sorry,
Long ball against us.
long ball. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
Back, I think they are playing out from the back and they're just doing it better than we are, or we're just not pressing well enough. And I think that's where the effort level comes in. Of I don't think we are trying hard enough to press and to press in a way that will be successful. We do this one man press where one person presses, runs up to the bloke that has the ball, he shifts it to the next person, someone runs to that bloke that has the ball. And I think in certain circumstances, you just need to all press and take away the options from the bloke that has the ball. And I don't think we've been doing enough of that. We've just kind of been closing down the player that has the ball. But if you're starting 5-10 yards away from them, that is ample time for a Premier League standing player to be able to shift the ball if they have other players that are open with players that are only 5 to 10 yards away from them. So Yeah, I need more energy and I need more attacking output slash flair.
Blair. Ooh la la.
We need to beat players because if they've got 10 players back and we're only really attacking with 6 or 7, we're outnumbered. So someone needs to take it on themselves to go past a couple of players and shift players over so you can create space. Whereas we're quite happy to just pass it round the box and not really do anything with it, and then get frustrated and hit a shot or just whip a cross in that we're not going to win a header for because we're aiming for 1 or 2 people that are actually in the box versus 6 or 7 for them.
Yeah, I agree with the crossing. The crossings seems like a waste of time for me, to be fair. I mean, even Jackson's the tallest bloke. Well, if he's playing, he's the tallest bloke in the front three, and he doesn't do enough for me to win a ball in the air. He doesn't do anything for me in the box at the moment. No, I agree, especially with the but this is it. Even when we get someone to beat a man, that final through ball just isn't good enough, as we've already said, across the board on the front three, I would say. Mudryk did a lot of cutbacks against Everton. I think he did 5. Nobody was there to receive it. It just went into space. There's absolutely nobody there. So it's like they haven't worked on that or practiced that or know that he will do that. So there's definitely still that. What's the word I'm looking for? That gelling that is still apparent, and obviously the more we suffer, the harder I think that gelling is going to become. From a mental side of things, I agree with the press. We don't press well. I think we used to. I think we've dropped that, and you're right. We're not pressing as a team. It's just one kind of goes, and then they've got enough time to move the ball, and then they move on to somebody else, or someone's waiting to kind of intercept the ball, like you said. I think last week or the last game, cutting off those channels. It's not enough. It isn't enough. So yeah, definitely high tempo, and we do seem to play better when we don't have the ball, which is actually quite I don't know, I want to say worrying thing in some respects. But it is what it is. So yeah, more energy is definitely needed across the board. Everyone needs to be putting in a shift today because we can't lose to Sheffield United. We can't do that. That'd be awful, especially with their stats.
Unfortunately, we can. Like, it is fundamentally.
No. I know what you mean. Of course we can, but we shouldn't be losing to Sheffield United. No disrespect to Sheffield United, but we really shouldn't be in that position.
Yeah, especially when you spent 600, 700 million pounds in your squad in like 2 years.
Well, to be fair, I think since Bowley's arrived, it's nearly $1 billion. It is just under $1 billion.
And they've probably never spent that amount in their club's entire history. Won't have spent anywhere near that amount.
No.
Utter embarrassment that we can't seemingly make this work. And we bought, even like, you take it to sort of a Galacticos level. One, we haven't done that and bought Galacticos with.
No, we have not bought Galacticos. Absolutely not. No.
It's like 11 players that are almost playing for themselves, and it doesn't quite work because it's not a team. But we've done that and bought players that don't have that level of quality, so we don't have game winners, really.
I honestly think that we have got certain players that have got quality. I don't think it's fully come through with certain players. The only exception for me is Cole Palmer. Where I think he's honestly been our standout player. That was when we really started to play differently and the team sort of shifted. I think, go on.
Who's like the Hazard? Who's the Robben? Who's Lampard? Takes the game by the scruff of the neck, scores a goal, scores 2 from outside the box in Lampard's case, or like we don't have a player that really takes the game by the scruff of the neck. And
I agree with that. We don't have that one standout player where before we've had a few, in different positions that will put in that last ditch effort and win the ball, or run half of the length of the pitch and go past 3 players, or like you said, late run into the box or the edge of the box, and that if they get on the end of the ball, they could probably score. No, we don't have that. But again, that goes back to what we've said before about who they've bought. Like I said, there are certain players I think we've got who have got quality, and that you can then hopefully see where they'll come with a bit of experience. But the problem we've got is that whole team, bar Thiago Silva and probably Reece James and Chilwell, for me, don't have experience, like a lot of it, especially in the league. Like what Enzo's done, I think Enzo had played well for Benfica. I think he played really well in the World Cup. I still stand by that, and I still stand by the fact that when I saw him play in the World Cup, I was like, if we were going to buy a young midfielder, that's the midfielder that I want. I think the problem we've done is we didn't buy enough experience. I'll still stand by that, to support some of these youngsters coming through. And I don't think we bought with a philosophy on how we want to play, and therefore you've got different players who play different styles and they're not suited together. That for me that's where I think we are as a team at the moment. It doesn't mean that we don't have potential or good players. There are definitely some players where I go, no, do you know what? I think you are actually a good player. There's other ones that I still have a lot of question marks over. And I'm hoping that they will counter that in January and get rid of some of this dead weight where you go, do you know what? You've not done enough since you've come to the club. Just leave and cut their losses and have to start again. I don't know what that does to financial fair play. I haven't got a clue, but I think we're at that stage now. They have to realize that they've made mistakes.
Yeah, I think for financial fair play, from what I've looked at, generally looks like we need to get rid of a few of the academy graduates to balance the books, because we bought players for far more than we'll sell them for.
Yeah, and this is it. The rumors that are coming out at the moment are there's a lot of players that I think there's 4 players already looking to be sold in January. And there's a few other people that are talking about. Broja is one. Conor Gallagher is one because of that financial fair play, because they know the price tag they get for him. Trevor Chalobah is another one because he's a graduate and he's not been playing. There's talks of Madueke being told he can leave already. I've heard Gusto could be on his way out already. Because they want to get this killer striker. Why they didn't do that in the first place, I don't know. Along with apparently buying a centre-back, a midfielder, along with a striker, because they want more height. So, yeah, it's a weird one. But I think because of the situation we're in, I think we're going to have to swallow that pill. I don't want Conor Gallagher to leave, but I think he's going to have to. I don't think there's another way around it now.
Yeah, it does just sort of make a mockery of the system at the minute, where we're just buying all these. We bought a first 11 that basically is full of 21-year-olds, and then we bought all of these next superstars that are sort of 16, 17, 18, and there's not going to be anywhere to play them.
No, and I think the biggest thing for me was as well, we've ended up buying a lot of players that are not used to our league. And I think that's a problem as well. Like, there's one thing buying, like, I think the reason Cole Palmer has done actually so well is because he knows the league. I think if Cole Palmer was the player that he is, and you took him from a different league and you brought him here, I don't think you're getting the performances that you're getting from Cole Palmer now. Like, if he came from a Bayern Munich or, a Real Madrid, like a big team like City are in this league, and he's not used to this league, I don't think he's performing and doing as well as he is, and feeling as comfortable and confident as he is, because he looks like one of the most confident players we've got out there. And I think it's because he understands and knows this league. And I think that's the problem for a lot of these other players. And there's not a lot of people, especially players staying fit, that are there in the game to be like, come on. And so I think they've got a few things wrong, and it'd be interesting to see what they do to correct it. But you're right, the team's not gelling for various different reasons. But back to today's game, we always seem to get sidetracked on this. More on that probably more on that next week, and definitely towards the January transfer window. Do you want to go straight into starting 11s?
Yeah.
I think the defense kind of picks itself. To be fair,
I mean, I
I'd love to see if you do something different, but I don't think you can, to be honest. But
we don't have another option really. Sanchez is injured. Petric in goal.
I didn't hear you say that. I just heard you say Sanchez was injured.
Um, right back, we basically have to go with Dizazi, don't we?
Zazie by name, disaster by nature. Yep.
Then I'd go Thiago Silva, Badashil, Ian Matson. I don't think that's going to be what it is, but I'm so sick of Levi Colwell at left back, and I want
I honestly thought you were going to put Colwell in. I agree. I agree. If you're going to have one fullback, actually, that's another one. That's another player on his way out. Ian Matson. There you go. That's another one.
I'd give him at least give him a chance to play for his future, unless he's that shit in training. But
I honestly think he's done now. He's barely played. He's barely been given the opportunity. And like I said, they need to balance the books. He's a great way to balance the books.
yeah,
And Matson.
only fit fullback, the only one. Midfield: Caicedo, Connor, and Enzo.
Right. Where do you want them? Because they've kind of been in different positions recently. Last week, I think Caicedo and Gallagher were both here with Enzo slightly further up. But or do you want me to put it how I normally do it with Caicedo, Enzo, and then Gallagher at the top?
Connor in front.
So how I normally do it, yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Nice. And then Cole Palmer, Sterling, Jackson. I don't think Bro, you did a lot last week, so it is what it is. I mean, half of mine to put Washington in because at least he's been scoring goals the under 21s, but
oh, you said Jackson, sorry, didn't you?
yeah, but you do whatever you want to
Just do whatever you want with my team. Don't care.
do. I mean, Jackson and Broyo is a coin flip at the minute. It depends.
No, for me, do you know what? For me, it's not a coin flip. And don't get me wrong, I love the idea of giving Washington a go because I just think we've got nothing to lose. And I think he can come out and go, I've got something to prove here. Like on third choice, I could get loaned out, whatever, you know. Um, I think Broya puts in more effort. You might not get what you desire from a striker in terms of getting the goal or pardon me. But I think he puts in more effort recently than Jackson. He's more lively. He I think he works harder for the team. Jackson for me just the last couple of games hasn't really shown anything, especially when he came on against Everton. He did nothing, which you don't want to see from someone coming onto the pitch that's supposed to be trying to change the game. So, granted, I think we were 2-0 down by that point, but still. So that's your team. I agree with the back line, to be fair, but I think Poch will put Colwell at left back.
Yeah.
Um, and let's just let me do it anyway. I'll keep that there. Oh, I actually, I'm going to do this. This is honestly what I would do. And I've heard a few fans speak about this as well. Even he's come out and said he's not been playing well enough. So with that own admission, I'm taking him out, and I would do. Not the neatest, I know. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's been doing the worst.
No,
Out.
I don't think he's done badly. I'm just not happy with the midfield, and I think Connor and Enzo together offer just a little bit more than having Caicedo in the team. That's all it is. I think they're better passers of the ball. Connor can tackle and break play up. I just think they are both better passes of the ball, and yeah, it's not that I think Caicedo's done worse or better than Enzo. Enzo for me has dipped a little bit. Um, but I think that's more of a, for me, that is more of an attacking team to get that first goal, maybe two. And then you can bring on Caicedo in the 60th minute when Enzo's run out of gas, or 66th minute, whatever it is.
Would you?
That's more it is for me. But
So, how sure are you that Nkunku's not fit?
well,
Because
he's still on the injury list.
the match day score, what the Chelsea official
Yeah,
injury?
like he's on the bottom. Rather than continuing a rehab or undergoing this, it says 2 weeks full training.
Yeah.
And apparently he's dropped a hint over Instagram saying, that he might be featuring, but no one's come out and said that he's going to feature and that he's ready.
I thought I heard Potts say that he was in the matchday squad.
I've not heard that, but then for me, if he's in the matchday squad, he shouldn't be on the injury list. And apparently Nkuku's hinted at it, but I'm just playing devil's advocate. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I I don't know if he'd start, but he'd probably come off the bench.
But if you're going for this team's going to more likely to score a couple of goals, get us in the lead, and then you bring on other players. Do you not think we're better off starting Nkunku then?
I don't have a problem with starting Nkuku. I can't wait to see him play. But again, it for me, it's I I don't know if he's available.
Yeah.
And even he is with the way that they're trying to look after players that are coming back from injury, which they've done a really good job with Reece James with, by the way. Um, you're then wondering, like, they don't normally start players and then bring them off after, like, right, we'll give you 45 minutes, go out there, make a big impact, and we'll bring off. They normally bring them on in the second half, or when they. But here's one for you then: if Nkuku could start, and or if he's going to come on in the second half, which position do you think he'll come on at? Where would you like to see him play? Because I was wondering about this with this team. Like, do I include him in my starting 11? But because I hadn't heard anything, and I
If,
was wondering, put him on the right or behind the striker.
if he's coming off the bench, it depends who else we've got on the pitch and what's going on at that point. Um, in theory, I think where I'd like to see him play is behind the striker. I think the problem with that is then we lose the battle in midfield because we end up having two midfielders. Unless Potts brings back his system of we play three centre backs at the back, but in a back four, and then the three when we're attacking, the three stay back. The fullback, so Matson in this situation, pulls into midfield, and we get our three in midfield.
Yeah,
That way, you can kind of see a system that makes some sense, but has left us open at the back. And I think in that situation, I'm playing behind the striker. Otherwise, I think he's up top. And
I think at the moment, I think at the moment he's got to be up top because of the way how bad it's going.
yeah, and I think Sterling has shown that he's good on the wing, and Cole Palmer you can't leave out the team. So I'd rather have them playing their positions at the minute. I don't know what Nkunku's like out wide, but from the sounds of it, he's quite a potent goal threat.
Mm.
And I think he was playing in the front two for Leipzig or playing up front by himself. So I would like him close to the goal, whether that's up front or in the number 10 role. But
No,
yeah,
I agree. I'd have him up top. If I'm brutally honest, like, he didn't he get like top goal scorer in the German league or something last year.
yeah, it was only like 13 goals though, but he was injured for like a lot of the season as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
So yeah, no, I agree. I have him up top. my big issue is, like I said, look, I know I said this about the midfield, but my big issue is whoever's playing centre attacking midfield, as much as we want them to be creative and moving forward, they've also got to drop back and help out the midfield so we don't get overrun. And that I don't care who that is. It's just the way that the game is going for us at the moment. They need to drop back more. Because I felt like we've been overrun a couple of times in midfield because players aren't dropping back. So I don't think that midfield is still perfect. I'm hoping it would work for this game because it's just got a bit more creativity. It is a bit more attacking, like we said. We just need to get that first to 2 goals. But I wouldn't be doing this midfield for every game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. Right, we'll stop sharing that.
What is your score prediction?
I want to say 2-0, 2-1 to us. But I've got this. But at the same time, if someone turned around in the game, it's 1-0 to them. I just wouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised. Just because, again, like the way things have gone for us, recently, you wouldn't be surprised.
You'd almost think that it's a game of football where either side can win.
Yeah, but at the same time, I completely agree with that. But for me, it's not always about the other team and how good the other team have been. There's certain teams where I've seen and I've gone, they've been really good today. Like they deserved that 3 points against us. There's been teams where I go, do you know what? They're a quality team, but they've not played very well today, and they're lucky to get that draw against us. And that's what it is. Like, but realistically, with the team that we've got and stuff, and like the team that we are, we shouldn't be worried. We shouldn't normally have to be worried about this game. We should be able to go, yeah, we're gonna come out, we're gonna play like this. Might be a tough game, but we'll get the 3 points. And now we're going, as you said, we don't know what Chelsea's going to turn up. Not a starting 11, but just what mentality and how they're going to approach the game.
Yeah, so that's 4 minutes of just absolute waffle.
No,
About football is football. What do you think the score will be? One score, one team, one dream. You can do this. Get off the
2-1
2-1 to
Chelsea.
who are your goal scorers?
I'm going to give it to. I actually don't know. I want to say Nkunku comes off the bench and gets one. I'd love to be able to say that if he's on the bench. And then the other one I'm going to give to. Do you know what? I'm going to give it to Sterling, but I could be anybody at the end of the day.
I wanted 2-1 as well, but I'm going to go 3-1 to be different. Chelsea. And then
you could have got 2-1 still if you agreed that it's going to be 2-1. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, we can't have the same score at Bora. Then I'm going to do Buttershield, Cole Palmer, and I'm going to go with Connor's overdue one.
Fair. Anything else for this episode?
No. Up the Blues.
Up the Blues, up the Chelsea.
I think we'll win.
Yeah. Like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, notification button as always. Thank you all for watching and stay tuned for the post-game analysis.